This is Lee with 82 Game of 12 here on YouTube channel Sons of Liberty 75. This will be video 7, and it's actually going to be turn 7 of our playthrough of Redvers Reverse, the Battle of Colenso, 1899. Original game design, Jeff Noble. Additional design and development, Godfrey Bailey. So, things don't look too good for the British. If we are to look at the game track, okay, we've got runaway camera. Okay, so the game track, we've got losses for the British at 17, and the Boer confidence is at 17. So, 3 more losses, or, which, the 3 more points of Boer confidence will end the game. And so this is a lesson learned here that the British strategy was not very effective. So that's where we're at. We're at a situation where the British are desperate to lower the Boer confidence and yet not receive casualties, which is not going to be easy for them to accomplish. We do have a couple of objectives that have to be rolled to see if they are put into action. And that has to do with the fourth light, with a planned objective to cross the Tugela River here at this drift, or find a drift along this bend here in the river, and attack Swaziland, which presently is disrupted. And the other one is up here at Halangwan with the 6 Fusiliers, with their plan to join the mounted troops led by Dundonald. So the rules, I've got let's see what I had, see if there's an addition on here somewhere. No, I don't think it tells me like a specific edition. But I don't. So I guess this is the next edition of the rules that I downloaded. This is what it looks like, the front. And of course, it doesn't have any of the counter images. There's no images whatsoever. But the rules are set up a little bit more organized, I think. Yet, I still think they need to make some additions just to clarify. Not really change. I'm not suggesting a change of rules. I'm just suggesting that they clarify some different things so that things are a little bit more clear instead of just out there. I think they were putting too much reliance on the charts, and whether that be the charts that you have here. I don't quite understand why they did this. That it's like this to me would cost more than just doing 2 more of these. You know, why didn't they just also put something on the back? Is this to stand up for some reason or something? Not that it's that important, but it's kind of just odd. So if you can get past if you can figure out the rules and download these cards, you know, you go to that gaming website that I don't mention, and you can find these as a file that you just download, and then you print off the sheet. There's, I don't know how many sheets there are, but the sheets that have the cards that you cut out. And you know, I've showed this in the other videos. You get, so you buy some of these penny sleeves. It looks like they're used for baseball cards, maybe, but they work well. And get a deck of playing cards that you can get for $1.25 or whatever, pretty cheap, maybe even $1, 99 cents, something like that. And you just slip a card in, doesn't matter what card, with each one of these cutouts. And you've got the cards that will guide you through the game, to play the game. Now, the next game in the series takes place after this game. So this is 1899. Let's see if we have the December. Okay, 1899. The next game takes place near this, I guess, because it still has to do with trying to relieve Ladysmith. And it takes place in 1900. I think like January, February not for sure exactly, but early months of 1900. And again, you've got the Boer forces acting much the same way in trying to stop. I guess the maybe in this one, the British are more on a defensive mode. Oh, anyways, go to Legion Wargames and you can find out about that. It's in their the section of games to come. So I don't remember exactly how they word it, but games that are in development and they're thinking about publishing. And it needs more support, I guess, in order to get published. I think the game is set at like $48. You can get this game on Legion War Games for $48. And I think it's worth it. It's worth the $48. Even though you have to print off, some stuff, but doesn't cost you very much to do this, to do the cards, the sleeves, the playing cards, and to print this off. If you don't have a printer, you can go to Office Depot, Office Max, whatever those places are. Go back there and be able to print this stuff off, and then and even print off the more updated rules, which is really, there's not any really changes, I don't think, that I could tell. It's just the way that they reorganized it a little bit. But they could still do with some explaining of morale. And, explaining, okay, if a unit is disrupted and gets another disrupted, do they just stay disrupted? Or if they're suppressed and the result is disrupted, do they then become just disrupted, or do they go from depressed or suppressed to rout? It's just left out in the air, just left out there, and you're wondering what to do. If just a simple couple of sentences to explain that, hey, if a unit's suppressed and it gets another morale hit, it just stays suppressed. Or if it's disrupted and it gets another disrupted, it goes to suppressed. Well, just something like that to let the player know, because there's no explanation. And what happens to a routed unit that can't route? Move. I had that happen. I had a unit here that was routed, and yet it had nowhere to go. It had nowhere to go. You can't have more than one unit in a drift. So that was a dilemma. So just little things like that. If they would come back and just, maybe the play testing needed to be done by a larger variety of individuals that then could put in their input and say, hey, what about this? What about that? What about this? Hey, your rules need to be, if you're using your play testers are always the same people. Okay. Then they're used to how you do things. And if they all work for the company, that's not good. You need playtesters that are gamers that play a variety of games. Don't use the same playtesters over and over and over. So, anyways, enough of that. So we have the event. Okay. And on here, it gives, the cards really do a good job with explaining stuff. Okay. Now, if you're like me, you really need a magnifying glass on some of this stuff. But it tells you if certain cards are in play, what to do with them, or cards. If certain event chits are in play, what to do with them. It tells you to draw an event chit, and then it has the explanation right there. You don't have to look at the game chart. It's all right here. They put it on the card for you. So, all right. So what we do is we go to our draw cup, shake her up, and pull out an event chit. And so this event chit is the second English is activated. Okay, well that's good because they're not activated. We'd be waiting on them to do something. I think that's the right. Do they have an? Yeah, they're actually they have a planned objective. So okay, so it says that if Bueller is killed or brigade eliminated, remove both chits from play. New order from Bueller. The second English Brigade's objective marker, unless showing fail, may immediately be placed in any area no further than 5 areas from its leader, even if it's already in play. Remove any planned objective mark and return the chit to the cup. Okay, so that means we can activate, we can take the planned objective, okay, and just put the objective marker on the board. And we had it here. So we could put it anywhere though, within 5 hexes of the leader. And so the planned objective is now an objective. We could put it up here or even up here. I guess we have to put it in one of these. Well, I think you might be able to put it up there. But we want to take out that that emplacement. So that's where it's going. All right. Next, command points. Now we're only going to get one. So we only get one because they're not, Bueller and the HQ are not in the same area. So we only get one. And so the one that we want to get to would be the 5th Irish right here. So I guess they got to roll 4 or less. But we can't all go up there. It's going to take forever for them to cross. So we're going to go ahead and put it there. So I'll put that underneath it. All right, so we issued this order. That takes the command point away. Then we go to receive orders. So we've got to roll to see whether or not the order is received. And it's coming from Bueller to Major Hart. It's 2 areas away. 2 areas away. So we roll 2 dice. We got a 5. So with a 5, the brigade's objective will be rolled for reaction on turn +1. So we go and place it on 8 over there on the turn track. Okay, and next we have reaction to orders. So we've got a couple that we have to roll for. These are the 2. We've got the 4th light and the 6th Fusiliers. All right, so the 4th light up here all right, the leader, Littleton, is a B. So we roll 2 dice. And I got a 3. Okay, he needed a 5 to 10. Below the range, remove the planned objective and objective. Officer ignores the order. So that's just removed. The orders are removed. So then we go over to the Fusiliers. That's their planned objective. Halloween. And the leader Barton is a C. All right, so I got a 7. Okay, 7 to 11 for a C leader. So that's an accepted. So then we can put the objective there. They accepted the order. Okay. Don't have any emergency withdrawal going on. Okay. Then we have artillery fire. By the Boers. Now the only artillery they have that has targets is this artillery unit up here. Colenso copies. So at the copies, they're going to have their range is 3 hexes. Viable targets priority areas. So firstly, it would be their own area, and then next would be the 5 areas along the north red edge of the map, which is up here. So then it would be the areas north of the river, drifts and bridges. Well, we've got these two. So those are going to be the 2 targets. So and you know, you can put these things out like so. We roll the dice. Okay, got a 1. Now 5, 2, and 4. So you know it's got to be in here. There it is, 1. So it's going to be that one. So the target is that unit. From here to here, we've got the straight. Hello? All right, we're back with -2. Oh, that's going to be, could affect it quite a bit. Okay, so -2 to the strength means it's going to have a strength of 1. But then, because the target is in the drift, that's +2. So it's going to be +3 on the dice. Okay, so that's 5 +3, that's 8. Okay, so that's going to be disrupted. And I would also put one of these out, like a single attack. Okay. We don't move the competence up. Then we have recovery. So this is the boar's recovery. So we start over here with this suppressed unit. They're in an emplacement, so that's +2. They do have adjacent area with British units. So it's just going to be +2. So we've got 9 to 11. They're suppressed, and they do recover. Next, we've got this disrupted unit. They're an emplacement, so that's +2. But they also get +1 because there's no adjacent. Well, no, there is. This, we pull back just a little. These guys here are adjacent. So it's just a +2. 7, 8, 9 disrupted. 8 or more, they recover. Okay, then we have that routed unit right there. There's an emplacement there, so I guess they get that benefit. Okay, so 10 plus 2 is 12. So with the 12, they rally to disrupted. The card, actually, I think this is a typo, because it says routed unit rallies to suppressed with 12 or more, rallies to disrupted with 7 or more. This should be 7 to 12, but the 7 to 12 should be the next step down, which should be suppressed, because the morale is regular morale. You're at no counter, morale hit, however you want to describe it. Then you go to disrupted, suppressed route. So they've made an error here on the card. Routed unit rallies to disrupted with a 12 or more. Rallies to suppressed with a 7 to 11. And they had a 12. Okay. That unit there, they are an emplacement. Now, the other thing is this one had taken a hit. So even, it had a 12. So we have to subtract 1 for that. So that would put it at 11, which still allows it to be reduced 2 morale levels. Okay. So here we have a plus 2. 7, 8, 9, they're suppressed. So they just become disrupted. So they recovered part of it. Okay, so next we have the British artillery fire. So we're going to start over here. And so we're going to have this unit fire here. This unit's going to fire here. And across here, let's see what we got. So these two guys are going to fire into there. That's 2 hexes away. And let's see here. Oops. here be firing into there. That'll be a single attack. Okay, so let's just start over here. All right, so we've got the 66th Field Artillery. Range is 2 areas away, so we check that. We check for viable targets. Line of sight's never an issue. And we've got preparing. That's where you're deciding who's going to fire, and if you have a second unit that's going to fire, that makes it a multiple attack. So you're firing into an area, but at a specific unit. So you have to pick the unit that you're actually firing at. And then you have all the different modifiers here. And then we have the firing. So all right, so what we have is this is actually, let's see here, that's a hill. So that's going to be a -1. And they're in placement, that's -3. And they're also hidden. So now we're at -2 more. That's -5. -5. So that means we're just going to have a +1. All right, so we rolled an 8, 9. So that's going to be disrupted. That's just the top unit. All right. Move to the next target. Okay, so now we take a look at the red blocks. That's going to be right here. And let's target the one that's not disrupted. So here's our main gun. Strength of 6. And multiple attack, that makes it 7. They're in an emplacement, so -2. And that's going to be it. So a +5. Okay, I rolled an 8. It becomes a 13. So that's going to be suppressed. Okay. Next. I don't have to go. They called or left a message saying I'll have to be there till about a little before 10 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Here's our main gun. And they're with long. Do they get a bonus for that? I guess not. Okay. All right, so they're targeting this unit here. They got an emplacement. It's a multiple attack, so we're talking about strength of 7, -2. Okay. I rolled 9, oops, and 5, 14, so that's going to be suppressed. Okay. Okay. This gun here is firing here, 1, 2 away. So it's 6. It's a single attack. They're in placement, so it's going to be a strength of 4. So I got 4, plus 4 is 8. That's going to be disrupted. Okay. And then the 64th is firing here at this target. Single attack. They're in placement. We have a strength of 6. So that's going to be plus 4. And I rolled a 9, so that's a 13. So they're going to be suppressed. Okay. All right, so then we're going to check morale. Which we don't have because we didn't have anybody eliminated or loss of strength. Okay, so now we go to movement. All right, so Hart, the 5th Irish, they don't have an objective, so they can't move. Okay. The 4th Light lost their objective. They refused the order, so they don't get to do anything. So now we go to Hilliard. Okay, so we've got this disrupted unit. Going to move to there. This one comes across the drift here. Okay, and then this unit with Hilliard moves, well, let's see. Hilliard has 2. So I guess he would be over in there, and this one just moves into the drift. Okay. Then over here, mounted troops. Okay, so they move in as mounted. Let's see here. Terrain, brush, just cost 1. All right, so they move in. They've got a movement of 2. So they move in, and then it takes 1 to dismount. So they dismount. And 1 more comes in and dismounts. And these guys are... Let's see, what are they going to do? Well, they can actually go here and then here. That's what they do. And then Barton here, so he'll move there with 3. His units. These other 2 will move over here. And that takes care of the movement. So then we have assault. So we can assault all modifications for terrain and emplacements apply. So commandos open fire. But no, they can't assault. I don't have anybody in, they're not, these guys are in the drift. They haven't been able to make it over. So no assaults. And over here, the reason I couldn't enter here, okay, is because that's a hill. And on the terrain, okay, hill, British, all movement points. It takes all of their movement points to enter, whether it be the red hill or just the other hill. So I don't know where the red hill, oh, okay, the red hill, okay, that's over way in the corner. Okay, so over there, the red hill, that's darker than this. This is hills. This is like a steeper hill, I guess. Or it's the same, it costs the same, but fire, oh, I should have had a, yeah, I did have a -1 when you're firing. Well, it should be a -1 for firing into the hill. -2 again, firing into the red hill. Okay. All right, so we don't have any assaults. Okay, so bore confidence. Okay, so we move the bore confidence marker down 1 box on the turn track Turn in status track for every full strength British unit that enters a towards Ladysmith area. Okay, we don't have that. Okay, then we go to the Boer event. Okay, so what do we have? The fourth group is released. So, what does that mean? All right. Fourth group. If group eliminated, remove both chits from play. If there are 11 or less battalion or regiment strength points in the upper frontline areas, then the fourth group is released. White banner. Okay, yeah, okay. So, we got to count 11 or more. Oh, if there are 11 or less strength points. All right, so what we have here is we've got, that's 3. This is 3. That's 6. That's 10, 14. Yeah, there's more than 11. If not released, return the chit to the cup and go to the Boer sortie below. So we return it to the cup. Oops, wrong cup. And we go to the sortie below. If a route can be traced from an area with a commando of the group present to an area with a battery present, it is eliminated. So yeah, we can go here to here to here. So we've got this artillery unit is eliminated. So that gives another loss and another Boer confidence. So we're at 18. So that's something to keep in mind, is you want to keep your artillery protected. We have Boer movement. Okay. So that disrupted unit let's look in the rules here to see. To see what happens here. All right, so okay, so I guess it only has to do with you'd have to have a chit that releases them to move. So the bore unit's just going to stay there. He's no longer routing, so he doesn't have to move that way. So he would just join that unit there in that emplacement. Okay. So now we have rifle fire. Rifle fire. So we're going to start over here. So we've got these suppressed or disrupted units are going to fire here. And they're both of those have a strength of 4. So okay, so what we're going to have is we're going to have a multiple attack. So we've got 4 plus 1 is 5. We're disrupted, so that goes down. So now it's just 4. Enemies in a emplacement, so now it's just plus 2. So we need a 6, really. 6 or a 7. Got a 2, so no effect. Okay, so the next group will be that unit and that unit. Both of them are full strength, and they're going to fire there. And so we're going to have the same thing. It's just going to be plus 2. Oh, wait a minute. They're suppressed. So that means it's going to be only plus 1. So, yeah, now they're going to have, yeah, they have to have it. No, they have to have an 8. So that's not even going to be effective. So, okay. So let's go here. We're going to have this unit and this unit fire on, let's go with this disrupted unit. And this will be the main unit. So that's going to be multiple attack. Here's our main unit for rifle fire. So it's 4 plus 1, that's 5. And the target's in emplacement. So it's going to be plus 3. All right, we got a 4, which is only a 7. We need an 8. All right, so that didn't work out. So now we go all the way over to here. And that's not going to do much good. I don't think they're going to even be able to. So strength of 2, multiple attack, plus 1. Maybe I should have stayed mounted. Yeah, probably should have. So, yeah, that only has a strength of 3. And they're hidden in placement. Yeah, they don't have a chance. I got to get those Royal Fusiliers up there. All right, so that's all the rifle fire. So now we will go to recovery for the British. All right, we're going to start here with that unit. Roll 2 die. Oh, I rolled a 3. So he doesn't recover. Now we go to these guys here that are suppressed. Standing firm gives a +2. And yeah, there's a bore unit here, and that's adjacent. So we get a +2. We rolled a 3, becomes 4, 5. Didn't help. Now that unit, +2, 7, 8, 9. So it becomes disrupted. Okay, that unit has taken a loss, so -1, but +2, so it's a +1. We got 7, 8. Okay, so it goes to disrupted. And then that unit there, +2, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it goes to disrupted. Okay, over here, they don't get any additions. 10. Ooh, it goes to normal. Okay, this disrupted unit. 8. It recovers. Next unit. 5 stays. And then the last one, 5, it stays. All right, so now we go to the boars are going to fire. This will be a single attack here. So here, and he'll fire at this unit there. All right, for that boar unit, so only 7 stacking points there. So we've got to get our boar strength modifier. So they get an addition of 1. So they got a starting strength of 5. They're suppressed. So now that goes to 3. And we roll a 3. That's a 6, so no effect. Okay. We go to this disrupted unit. And they have 2 possible locations to fire at. This unit will fire here. They don't have anybody to fire at. They don't have any, they can fire here. So this unit can't fire here. Is that to fire here or here? Okay. A 2. So that means they're going to fire here. And they fire at that unit. Okay, so they are going to have a strength of -2. So yeah, they're not going to be able to do anything. Strength of 3. They're disrupted. Well, that would be a what, a +1? They have to get a 6. They got a 1. Okay, so that's all of that. So over here, we have this unit and this unit. And they're going to fire at this unit here in the drift. So that's going to be a +2 being in the drift with another +1. So they will have, they're suppressed though, but they're going to have 6, 7, plus the multiple attack is 8, plus 2 more for being in the drift. So that's 10. 10 total. Wow. And I rolled a 6. That's 16. So that unit is eliminated and the game is over. With that right there, that ended it. That's, well, yeah, 2 losses. That unit takes 2 losses, which over here is all that's needed to take it to both of these. The Boer Confidence would move twice, but the losses would be at 20. So would the Boer Confidence. So right there ended it. See, that's 4. That's 4. That's 8. 9, 10. That's all it took was 10. There's the 10, plus there's more out here. 10, 11, 12. We actually have 13 losses. So I guess I didn't count that. It should have been over a couple of losses ago. Because I think it started at 10. But anyways, so taking a look here, the British cannot use, you can't use the historical objectives and expect to be able to defeat the Boers. You've got to be more aggressive. You've got to really focus on getting that artillery up there to pound on the units to get them suppressed, best to get them suppressed so that when you move in there, that you can defeat them. Now the mounted patrol, the mounted units, they're going to be very useful in assaults. So you're probably better off not sending them up there to this hill. Except for maybe that's the reason why maybe they were sent, is to offset the... Yeah, but why would you send your cavalry to attack a hill? You'd want to have them attack the out here in this rough area here, where there's less but when they're mounted, they only have a strength of 1. So if we look here at them, okay, dismounted, they have a strength of 2. Okay, so when you're doing assaults, let's find the assaults. Six, 2. So in the assault, the Boer commanders fire first. Okay, all surviving battalions and regiments fire second, applying all normal modifications for terrain and emplacement. If units from both sides remain in the area, they now engage in close combat with point-blank rifle fire, bayonets, and sabers. Both sides fire one more shot again, with the commandos firing first. As this is a close combat fight, modifications for terrain and emplacements do not apply. So with an assault, you're going to have rifle fire, both sides, Boers first, then the British, then you're going to have another round of fire. But this fire is not going to give the defenders any terrain or emplacement mods. And that's what you need to do. So you got to get up there close enough. You got to get in there with them. But in order to do that, you got to find these drifts. And it's slow moving, except for the cavalry. The cavalry, the mounted units can get across those drifts, but you can only, with the drifts, you can only move across in a turn. Oh, gotta go to the terrain. Okay, so a drift. So with the drift, only 2 units may enter or cross per turn. Oh, 2 units may enter. Only 1 unit may remain in the area at the end of movement. Okay. Batteries disrupted or suppressed may not enter. And the other thing is, all reduce morale one level if unit exits. So when you exit the drift, you have to take a morale hit. Okay, and I didn't do that with one of these. Well, with one of these units. Well, I didn't do it with any of them. So right there, right here, this guy should have been suppressed, and this guy should have been disrupted. I didn't even get to this drift. What was it? It was 10. This one here was 6 and 6. So that's so we had 4, 10. This was 10. Can't get across that. 6 and 6. So trying to cross this, there was a 7. You don't get across. And so you don't know what those are going to be. You know, over here we've got a 12, an 8, and a 6. 12 is just automatic. You're going to get across it. 8, 6, and then what's this one? Another 10. So yep. So I lost the Battle of Colenso just like Buller did. This was a good introduction to the game, though. Learned how it plays. Learned a little bit of what not to do and what you need to do. And so I'll have to get this back to the table rather soon. But for now, I've got to move on to other stuff. But I did enjoy this game. I think it's a good solo game. And hopefully they're going to be able to get the next volume published. And I believe on the website it says that the third in the series will jump to the Crimean War. And then possibly later come back to the Boer War, or one of the 2 Boer Wars. So there's some excitement there in what could come next. You can look at the counters in the map for the next one, which the title is, let's see, I don't know if I can pull that up. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Oh yeah. Failure on the Tugela. Just show it to you. So there that is. And the map graphics, there's the map. So you still have a river, but I guess maybe you're pulled, the map scale is pulled way back because it's not, the river's not as big. It doesn't appear to be as wide as on this map. So there's probably a difference in the scale, I would say. But check that out, Legion Wargames. .com. Go check that out. If this looks like it's something you'd be interested in, then I suggest that you, what do they call the pre-order games? So yeah, go to the pre-order games. and sign up for failure on the Tugela. Hopefully you enjoyed the videos, and go check it out. There might be some other videos out there. I noticed when you go to, let me pull that up. If I just type in here, Redvers. Okay, so if I just type in here, Redvers reverse, well, maybe it's not on there anymore. Well, let me go back here. Looks like there's some unboxing, so forth and so on. Different places you can buy the game. But at some point, looks like somebody had pasted one of my videos into one of these, I don't know if it was Wikipedia or what. Let's see if we go to Wiki. Well, I don't see it now. Oh well, doesn't matter. But you can find some additional information other places. But there's just not a lot of videos, especially playthroughs. There's a few out there. So check those out. And well, hopefully these videos, 7 videos that I've done, will at least shine a little light on the game and get a little bit more interest going, so that we can get some more. I'm like I said, I'm a solo player. Whether I'm playing games that aren't designed for solo, or I just don't have face-to-face individuals in this area to engage and play with. And I don't really get on to Vassal. I haven't gotten on Vassal since back during COVID. So sometimes it's hard to coordinate time with other people, especially if they're across the globe or something. But this is why you have publishers creating solo games, because there's a lot of players out there that are in the same situation. They're just playing games on their own. So check this one out. I think it's worth your time. It's worth the money. It's a very interesting game. Has a lot of, I guess, unique characteristics to it, but yet it has some things that are very familiar with other games in regard to how it handles the opponent. And usually solo games, one side's on the defensive and the other side is on the offensive. And that's where a lot of solo games work. Whether you have a lot of the Dan Versen games, if I pronounced that right or not. But this is a good game. And don't let the rules difficulty keep you away, because that can be overcome, especially with the cards. And if you follow, I'm sure if you follow the sequence of play is all right here. So you can, not even worry about the cards, just read through the rules and then jump in there. And by following this here, you can figure out that. And by going back to the rules, you can figure out how to get this. And after a playthrough, then it a lot of things become a lot more clear on how things are done. There's a lot of things you could do here with, whether you use a card, and move it down, to help just, really focus on a specific area. You get the British Command Point segment, so you can just go right down and follow right along just like that. I think that works better than the step thing. And you could use cards, or you could use, any kind of paper, or, you can cut something out and just slap it in there that covers the whole thing. And especially if you have a darker color, like a construction paper, a brown, a black, even like a yellow, something to contrast with what is going to be what you're reading. And if you're in a position where you're closer to the board and over it, it makes it so much easier. So, the cards, for me, that's what helped me with the rules. But it's all there. The cards you don't have to do the cards. It's not required. The cards were not part of the original game. Now, the next game apparently is going to have cards. I don't know whether the cards will be in place of the event chits and things like that, or if they're going to do like this with the rules, or the sequence of play in cards. Maybe they decided, hey, that's a good idea. If they did, fine. If they didn't, this still works. The cards were just easier for me to be able to grasp what's going on. And so, you do what's easier or more comfortable with yourself, because you're the one playing. And if you have to adjust something, a little bit here or there, then you do that. If you feel like, well, heck, I think that if a unit that's, say, suppressed, and I did that, unit that's suppressed gets another suppression, it's going to rout. I did that. It's not in the rules. But, I'm playing, and I don't have an opponent to argue with. I just say, okay, to me, that makes sense that, hey, they're suppressed, or if they're disrupted, they get another hit, they're going to go to suppressed. And, It's not in the rules. It's not defined what to do if you have another morale hit besides no effect. So, and it could be that's their intent was no effect. But I just went ahead and said, okay, he's routed. Did it make a difference in the game? No. It's not like it gave the British an advantage because they lost. Too much inactivity, and that's what historically happened. You had rules. You had orders that were lost. They were ignored. You had leaders that didn't want to move to where they were told to move and do what they were told to do. So, I got the same result here because I was following what the historical orders were. I think you've got to be more aggressive. You've got to get those orders. You got to have your objectives across the river, and not focus too much on the perimeter. But the other thing is you've got to protect your artillery because those Boer sorties were destroying my artillery. I lost 2 guns, 2 batteries due to sorties. The commandos coming out of their emplacements and attacking where I'd left areas open straight to the artillery. So I could do a video just on maybe errors I made tactically and thoughts on what to do. But I've only played this game once. This is my first play. So I'm going to have to get a few plays under my belt to fully understand what it's going to take. And maybe I might not be able to get a win. Historically, the British didn't, but was it because they were just not aggressive enough? And, you think, well, they had, let's see. Okay, so right here they had an objective across the river, but the rest of them, besides, the mounted troops were instructed to attack Halawang, or just Lawang, but that's it. No one else had orders across the river. Well, to get to Ladysmith, you got to get across the river. So there had to be, here, anywhere you got a drift or a bridge, you got to have to put, your objective and get your troops moving there. And Buller has to move up so that he's closer, so you can't have Buller way back here in the back, Plus, you're going to have to move the British headquarters up with him, to get those multiple orders. Can't leave it back there at Shooter's Hill. As your army moves forward, you've got to bring up the headquarters and the leader. That's important because you can't have these orders that you give, and then the order is received, but then it's going to take 2 turns before it's actually acted upon. You need those orders immediately going forth because you're against the clock here, but the other thing you're up against is losses and the Boer confidence. So as each turn, the Boers are going to gain a confidence. And there's not too many ways to reduce the confidence besides getting to Ladysmith or, along the edge in these areas near the adjacent to the Ladysmith exit. So that's my thoughts there. I really approve of this game. Think it's really a neat game, and it's a game that I'll definitely play more of. So that's my take on things. I want another shot at trying to get Ladysmith relieved. So I suggest that you take a look at it.